I, a teen male, have a younger sister, a young teen named Abby. Abby was born 1 week early. This is something my parents really made a huge deal out of. They called her their miracle baby as long as I can remember, and used to pick fights with family members because Abby got away with everything when she was little. She still does. An extended family was angry when she would steal toys from cousins or take everything that she wanted without thinking of others. This happened everywhere, at grandparents' house, in public, at home, and her parents were furious when family members would step in to correct Abby. They'd also correct her for taking stuff from me, and my parents would always tell my family I didn't care. Then when Abby was in kindergarten, she got really sick with the flu, which turned into pneumonia, and she was in the hospital for weeks. My parents were worse after that. She had to be the priority. Her happiness was everything, and that ruined my life completely. They would agree to let me do stuff with friends and then make me cancel, or would tell me I couldn't go and wouldn't let me cancel so I could play with Abby because she wanted to play with me. One time, my friend's parents had paid for me to join them at the amusement park, and my parents told them no, as the others showed up at the door. It was so embarrassing. Abby and I would fight a lot. She'd tell me I had to hang out with her, and I'd say I didn't want to. Then my parents would say Abby was right, and I had to. When she had other kids to hang out with, I'd catch a break. But when she wasn't allowed to play with them anymore, or when they'd fight, she'd demand me. My parents would then say all my plans were off the table. It made it so hard for me to keep friends. My parents were also the ones who sent Abby with me to parties if she had no other plans. When other parents were like, no way, in advance, my parents would only let me go if Abby had plans. 2 years ago, Abby stole from one of my friends while he was at our house. My parents defended her and refused to make her return it. So his parents stopped us from being friends. Abby made fun of me for being upset, and I told her I hated her, and she ruined my life. I got grounded for it, but it's when I stopped caring at all about Abby and decided I didn't care about being selfish, but I didn't want to make her life happy. My parents made her impossible to be around, and I wish I never had to see her again. We can't even see extended family now because my parents made them angry over Abby. My parents are now angry at me because the camp they're sending Abby and me to this summer is separating us, and they wanted me to ask them to keep us together. The camp ignored my parents, so they expected me to do it for them, but I refused, and they told me I should think of my sister and how lost she'd be, especially for her first year at this camp. I told them I don't care. They told me I should prioritize my sister over myself. I said no way. They called me selfish. Am I the idiot? I'm sorry, but I'm absolutely cackling over a baby being born one singular week early being a miracle baby. Whatever the heck's going on in your parents' brains that they need to inject some made-up strife into your sister's life to make unequal treatment fair, read wouldn't be fair either way, is pathologically strange. Not the idiot. You never owe anyone an explanation for why you prioritize your well-being over someone else's. They've made it quite easy for you to do so. I was born 8 days early, and my sibling was 10 days early. No miracle children are to be seen here. That's so common. LOL. I can't deal with that. I know. It's one of the things my parents fought with the extended family about. It took me years to realize that 1 week isn't a big deal, and my sister was healthy. It's not like she was a whole month early or anything, but my parents talk. LMAO, 1 week? I was born 3 months early. 1 week is nothing. It's not considered premature, not even close. Your parents have taught your sister that she can do whatever she wants, and she will struggle to maybe never adjust to the world outside of them. Your parents are doing no favors by sheltering your sister. She needs to learn how not to be an idiot to kids her own age. Unfortunately, your parents sound like huge idiots, so you might need to be worried about them not paying for you to go to camp at all by refusing. Just know that your parents are very messed up, and Abby will be the one to suffer in the end. Get away as soon as you turn 18. If you can get your hands on whatever little Miss Sticky Finger stole, take it and give it back to your friend. Let them all be miserable together. That's what's going to happen. and then they'll come to you to help. You won't, and they'll freak out, and you'll laugh. That glorious day will come. I, 27 female, and my fiancé, 30 male, are getting married in September. Originally, we wanted to have a reception with 85 guests, but the venue I really wanted stated we had to invite 100 guests. So we went ahead with the venue I wanted and invited 100 people. After the invitations were sent out, my parents were upset to find out we didn't invite 4 of their closest friends and their spouses, 8 people in total. Still, they thought it wouldn't be a big deal to ask us to invite these 8 people. My parents are extremely generous, and I'm very spoiled. For this wedding alone, they've brought forward $10,000, pays for more than half the wedding, and my mom paid for my wedding dress. Their generosity goes beyond what they've paid for the wedding, helping me get through university debt-free, paying a portion of our house down payment, helping me buy a new car, and just all around being there for me emotionally. And for all this, I want to invite these guests to make them happy, as it would make me happy, and I want to show them I appreciate all they've done for me. It's much easier than paying them back. LOL. My fiancé does not share this opinion and insists this wedding cannot go above 100 guests. He agreed to invite them after the RSVP date, provided space becomes available, but most guests invited will RSVP yes. I explained to him that I wanted to show my parents my appreciation for all they had done for me, but he said he would sooner give them their money back than invite these 8 guests. We've had several arguments, and I've shed many tears over this issue, but he will not budge. He thinks my parents are the idiots because of the last-minute attempt to change our guest list, and I think he's the idiot for being unreasonably stubborn. And perhaps I'm the idiot for not taking his side on this. After all, it was me who wanted the bigger venue. Am I the idiot? Edit. My parents are not these filthy rich people or anything. They're hardworking, self-made people who continue to work and save to get where they are today. Growing up, we were actually lower middle class, and my parents have only recently found success. They do not go on trips or treat themselves. They just want my siblings and me to be happy. My fiancé grew up more well-off than me until his parents decided to go through with the world's messiest divorce. When the list was 85 people, the invite list was lopsided in my direction, and I have a huge family. All of the 15 extra people are from his side. There are 46 guests from his side and 54 from my side. My parents and my fiancé have gotten along well, very well, up until this. My parents love him, and he loves them. We were a happy family before this drama. He still tells me he loves my family, but right now we're having an argument. Would he sooner give them their money back than invite these 8 guests? What else is going on here? Is your fiancé upset about the venue and the increase in numbers from 85 to 100? Is he resentful of your parents' financial contributions? Does he feel powerless about making wedding-related decisions? 8 people seems an odd hill to choose to die on. Not the idiot for wanting to please and accommodate your parents. The dude's probably already been bending over backward to accommodate the in-laws because they're paying, and his fiancé doesn't exist when it comes to her parents. This is not about 8 guests. This is about boundaries and control. OP, your soon-to-be husband didn't want a wedding with over 85 people, but compromised on the venue, right? Now you're inviting more? So how many other things has your boyfriend had to compromise on, i.e., let you or your parents get their way? Ask yourself, what was the wedding he wanted, and where did he want it? That will give you the answer on who the idiot is in this story. My parents are divorced, and my brother, a tween, and I, a female teen, split time between mom and dad. Our dad remarried after the divorce 9 years ago. His wife has a daughter, a tween, who lives with them full-time now, but her dad was around for a little while when they first got together, and he left after my dad's wife won custody officially. He doesn't pay anything for his kid. My dad and his wife cover everything for her. My dad and his wife haven't been doing so well with money for a couple of years, and this year has been the worst for them yet. My mom is doing better than ever, though, and she's been financially stable. So my brother and I have a much better life than our stepsister. We get to do extracurriculars and get nicer stuff in general. This has become more obvious lately because my brother got to do 2 field trips and I got to do an international trip with my school last year. My stepsister had a field trip come up a couple of weeks ago, but my dad and his wife couldn't afford it. They asked my mom to pay, and she said no. They asked my brother to ask my mom, but he didn't. So Dad asked me to ask Mom. He told me how much his stepdaughter wanted to go, but the school didn't have the funds to cover families who couldn't afford it. He told me he knew it was not Mom's job, but they were desperate and just wanted her to have a nice time. She knew my brother and I never missed out, and he didn't want her to feel less important. I didn't ask. My dad got super angry when the field trip came, and neither my brother nor I asked Mom. My stepsister didn't get to go, which made him even more angry. Am I the idiot? What's up with men and their nerve to ask their exes to pay for kids that have nothing to do with their ex? Bat crap crazy. You are not the idiot. I appreciate your mom and bio dad are not together, and it really is not your mom's job to pay for your stepsister. It is for the stepsister's mom to pay for this type of thing. In any case, your mom had already said no. Did your dad expect your answer to change just because you were asking? Geez, the man is shameless. Yeah, the fastest way to lose your kids' respect is to constantly make them the go-between to the other parent. There are many better ways to handle this, and pretty much all do not involve the kids. OP, do not feel guilty. Your dad is being a manipulative jerk right now by involving you and your brother in adult financial decisions. Your father could have begged the neighbors and his colleagues at this point, but no, he prefers that your brother and you beg your mother for his stepchild? Like there were so many other people OP's dad and OP's stepmother could have hit up before expecting OP's mother. Bold of them to want their children to ask instead. That's just shameless, gross, and lazy. Not to mention, there are always side gigs, extra work shifts, overtime if available, or heck, even a second part-time job. Dang, do something. Yesterday, my male 28 cousin celebrated her 18th birthday. This time, because she's an adult, she was in charge of her own guest list regarding family members, so I was the only family member she invited. We've always had a great relationship. I wasn't aware of this when I arrived, so I asked her why she didn't at least invite her grandparents. Her answer was obvious, because everyone in the family always treated her mom like crap. Since her mom said she didn't have to invite everyone in the family this time, she chose not to. What I didn't understand, though, was why not her grandparents? They always treated my cousin great. She said the following: yes, they gave her nice gifts, but they always talked down to her mom and didn't help her when they struggled financially. My aunt's a single mom. The dad never paid child support, and she also has a lot of debt. Well, it was kind of obvious she still didn't know the truth, so I figured she was old enough, legally an adult, and if she has no contact with our grandparents, the truth will come out eventually. They're planning on paying for her college, so I might as well rip off the Band-Aid now. So I told her why her mom was ostracized by our family. My aunt was the youngest of 5 children, and because she was the youngest, she was always doted on. My grandparents are hard workers. They still didn't retire in their 70s. They put all their kids through college. When my aunt used her college fund to start a bakery, instead of cutting her off like they threatened to do with the other kids, they were happy for her and supported her. Obviously, this strained the relationship with the other siblings, but they still loved each other. Now, initially, the bakery was a success, but I'm not too aware of all the details either. What I do know is that come the 2008 financial crisis, things weren't looking too good, and to avoid bankruptcy, my aunt took loans from some loan sharks. Long story short, it wasn't pretty, and my family had to go through some difficulties to help out my aunt. The police also got involved. After that, the relationship between siblings got incredibly strained. They really wanted nothing to do with her. My grandparents decided that my aunt would have to figure out how to pay the remaining debt, to the banks, not the sharks, herself, but they always treated my cousin properly. After I told her this, my cousin froze. Her first reaction was to go ask her mom, hoping it wasn't true. Her mom froze and started crying, pretty much an admission of guilt. Then everything broke loose, screaming and shouting, and calls to the rest of the family. Now, I'm the idiot? So what I'm hearing is your aunt got taken advantage of, blamed and abandoned by the people who were in a position to help her, and is still being blamed and ostracized years and decades later after she's got her act together. Did I miss anything? God, your entire family, apart from the cousin, sucks. My judgment? You are the idiot. You shouldn't have told her all of this at your cousin's birthday party. Agreed. You are the idiot, as are your grandparents and the whole family. Your aunt took a risk and it failed. She made a poor and dangerous choice, going with the loan sharks. And does she have to pay for this for the rest of her life? Wow. Just wow. As if that experience wasn't traumatic enough, you all continue to traumatize her. She should go no contact with you all. I have two friends, Gabby and Shelly. All of us are 23 if that matters. We were roommates in college and stayed in the same city after graduation. While the three of us are close, I've always known that Gabby and Shelly are the closest. They have a really sweet friendship. Shelly's getting married, Gabby's the maid of honor, and I'm one of the bridesmaids. Over the weekend, I went with Shelly so she could look at wedding dresses. Gabby was supposed to come with us but got called into work at the last minute. I helped Shelly pick out some dresses, and then she went with the consultant to try them on. Shelly asked that I take pictures and videos on her phone and send it to her mom and Gabby. I was getting the camera ready when a text from Gabby came through. I didn't mean to click on it, but I was instantly going to click back out when I saw one of my Instagram pictures in their private chat from earlier that morning. Both were making fun of me for the face I was making and my outfit choice. It wasn't of a very good nature. I admit that curiosity got the best of me, so I searched for my name in the chat. I found multiple pictures that my boyfriend, my mom, and I posted of myself, ripping them to shreds. They ranged from selfies to pose shots to even a few baby pictures. They'd also make fun of me in general in terms of the way I talked, wore my hair, and ate. As far as I could tell, this went back at least a year. My heart broke. It all felt so juvenile in high school. While we all joke around, I would never do this to them, and nor have they ever tried to instigate these types of conversations with me about the other one-on-one. I was in tears. As someone who was bullied all through middle and high school, it just brought me back to a horrible place. I put the phone in Shelly's purse and brought it to another employee, telling her to tell Shelly that I had to go. I drove home and had a long cry. Shelly texted me when I made it home, asking where I had gone. I said I was going home and we could talk later. When she did call a few hours later, she was understandably confused and hurt that I left. I told her what I found, explaining that I only looked further because of that initial text I accidentally saw. She went off on me for looking through her private text and said those were none of my business. She also told me I shouldn't have left the store without saying anything. I said I didn't want to make a scene, but I knew I couldn't fake being happy for her. Shelly told me the texts were all in good fun, and clearly she loves me because I'm going to be her bridesmaid. She added that I'm only hurt because I chose to read all those texts. Later, Gabby called to tell me that I had invaded Shelly's privacy and hurt her by walking out. My boyfriend and mom think I did the right thing by walking out, but obviously, they're a little biased. I just want unbiased opinions. Was I an idiot to look through the text and then leave? Not the idiot. If I were in your place, I think I'd drop out of being in the wedding. It's one thing to jokingly make fun of someone one time, but seems like they've done this to you a bunch of times, and it doesn't seem like it was lighthearted. If I were you, I wouldn't feel bad about looking through those messages. She handed you her phone and felt like fate took the opportunity to expose them to you for who they are. Notice also how they're not apologizing to her for what they said, but are attacking her for looking at the text. With friends like these, who needs enemies? Seems painfully apt. OP needs to walk away. When she's no longer an available target, I wonder how long it takes until they take out that ugliness on each other. Honey, this is mean girl behavior. It's passive-aggressive. It's mean-spirited and not how real friends treat their friends. They were making fun of you because they're mean and not very nice people. And they hid it from you because they're mean and not very nice people. She made excuses and blamed you for the situation because she's mean and not a very nice person. You should drop them both like a hot potato because they're mean and not nice.